very important moment in her life. Random statement, but you're so pretty. Thank you. So I can understand that they wanted an open adoption. And it is sad that they did not understand what they were reading. That's sad. It's sad for Catelynn and Tyler that they did not understand what they are reading. That is sad. But in doing something that is so selfless, you have to be able to move forward. I've been a silent watcher, and I must say I love your content. Thank you, T. Not Catelynn in the comments. Catelynn in the comments. Not Catelynn in the comments. Well, girl, come in. Come in and let's talk about it. Can we come in and talk about it? Yes. Let's talk about it. I'll invite you. Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, what is your name?
Ray.
Did you say Ray?
Yeah.
Okay, nice to meet you, Ray.
Nice to meet you, Kate.
Okay, so I want to know your opinion. You're saying that I'm supposedly harassing them? And I want to know in what form are you considering to be harassment?
So when you had stated that you had stated that you had been ignored for a week. When you're stating that you have been reaching out consistently and have been ignored for weeks, it sounds like a bit of harassment when you're consistently reaching out and not hearing anything in response.
Okay, so from that perspective right there, let me add, I, as the birth parent, was informed and also pushed to do these things, informed to keep reaching out, keep sending updates, keep doing all of these things from the adoption agency, saying that it is important for the adoptee to see consistency and see consistent reaching out. That's what I was informed on doing. So of course, that's what I'm going to do. Also, yes, there has been times where I would have to, I would reach out and be like, hey, I sent Carly her presents. Did she like them? Did she, how is she doing in school? This is what Nova's doing in school. This is what she's enjoying.
Yeah.
And again, it would take weeks and weeks and weeks to get a response. And the only way that I would get a response is, a few weeks of her not reading it. I would go back on and be like, hey, I'm just checking in, want to see, if you saw my previous message or whatever. Like, it would not be me of like days and days and days of texting. It would be a week after I sent a text message, or sometimes a month after I sent a text message. So yeah, I think a lot of people have that, like, not
the misunderstanding because of what you were recently sending and not what you've been doing throughout the years.
Absolutely. Now, my most recent texts that I posted on Instagram, yes, like once a week I would send updated messages and texts of like what's going on in our lives, but also I was informed to do so. So that way Carly can see in the future too, like, oh no, they were consistently, trying to send updates, letting us know what is going on in their lives. Mm-hmm. That was before I was blocked. Because I wanted, and was told to do so, to show consistency, show that you are still trying and that you want to communicate. Yeah. And then now all of a sudden she blocked me. But yeah, that first text thread, that's not my whole text thread with Teresa. Is like, oh, here's your siblings. Here's what we're doing. We're here. Yeah. We're there. Sending her all of the vacations that we go on to, because we don't go on vacations all the time. We go like once a year.
Can I ask you?
So yeah.
I'm really curious about something, right? There's a clip, and I talk about this clip all the time because it was a clip where in Teen Mom, you, Dawn, and Tyler had gone to go speak with Dawn, and Dawn had gone over the adoption paperwork. But in the beginning of 16 and Pregnant, you had stated you stated that you wanted to have like visitation, so on and so forth, right? And in the agreement, it says that it's like 5 years, right? 5 years of open adoption on the agreement. And then after that, it was like occasional up to the adoptive parents. Now, is this something that Dawn went over with you? Because obviously I don't know. And I have said that I don't believe, because it wasn't shown, that she went over this or she wasn't very clear because you guys were teenagers. So can you clarify that?
Right. So let's go right to the beginning. Okay.
Okay.
I'm 16, pregnant, scared, trying to make the best decision that I think is best for my child. Okay. Meet up with an adoption counselor. And when we first discussed openness and all of that, Ty and I, in that moment, we were scared. Like, would it be too hard for us? This is before we picked out a family or anything. Like,
Okay.
Would it be too hard? Maybe we want to just do like pictures and letters, things like that. Then, we move forward and we meet a family, and we meet up with Brandon and Teresa and meet them for the first time. And after meeting them, I was more or less like, all right, now I want to change it a little bit. Like, no, I would like to be able to send her presents for her birthdays and, still get updates about her and get pictures about her and know what she's doing in life. And so then that changed a little bit. Then going into her birth and her being born and, Ty and I spending 3 whole days with her and letting Brandon and Teresa be a part of that as well.
So you guys spent 3 days with her?
Yes. In the hospital. Yes.
Okay.
And we would let, Brandon and Teresa come in and hang out with all of us. Like, we didn't just hoard her, obviously, but,
Right.
And so then after she was born and stuff, because, at first I was like, when she's born, I don't know if I want to see her. It might make it too hard. Well, that changed. And I will never regret the 3 days that I had with her and being able to you can't say hello. You can't say goodbye without an hello. And I was like, dude, that's so true. So no, I want to spend time with her now. So we spent the 3 days in the hospital, all of that, whatever, very emotional time. And at the end of that, what, baby? And at the end of that, I told Dawn, I said, okay, I want things to change again. And because through the process, we were always told, let me get her set so I can finish this, because this is a good point. Hold on one second.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
So yeah, towards the end of the hospital stay, I was like, all right, now I want things to be different. Like, I want to be able to have face-to-face visits with her and, throughout her childhood and stuff. And Dawn always said, like, whenever you want something to change, we get out our big eraser and we can change it, And so that's what we did. And I was under the impression.
I just want to, sorry, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So throughout this time of adoption, you guys were able to continue to change the agreement.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes, because you don't sign any of the paperwork or anything like that until you are leaving the hospital. And then again, you don't sign like legal stuff until like 30 days after she is born, and you have to go to the court and do all that. During the adoption process, yes, I was able to change for Carla, which I think that is very important, especially when I was literally a 16-year-old child. I don't know what I want. I've never been involved in any adoption, So of course, it's all trauma. So of course you're scared at first, not knowing if seeing her is going to affect you or not. And then she's born and you're like, oh my God, no, I want to be able to see this beautiful child. I want to know, what she is doing in her life with her parents and things like that. So yes, I wanted it changed when she was born. I was like, no, I want to be able to have face-to-face visits and letters and pictures and, FaceTime calls, whatever, because I don't want to live with all those what ifs. Where is she? What is she like? I didn't want to. The trauma was already hard for me enough. And for everybody involved, like, I didn't want to make it worse by not knowing anything.
Right.
So then we all agreed upon, like, okay, face-to-face visits, letters, pictures, and it kind of started like that. You know, for the first year of her life, we didn't even know what her last name was. We didn't have their address, anything like that. But for her first year birthday, Brianna and Teresa sent something to our house, and it literally was just a card with their full names on it. And at first, Ty and I were like, what is this? What, you know, like, we were confused.
Right.
And then it hit us like, oh, it says their last name. So now we know their last name. And then, you know, even after that, we didn't have their address for a few years. We would have to go to the agency, and that's where we would get pictures and letters that they sent to Dawn, and then Dawn would give them to us. And then we had our 1 year visit with her. And I think it was around that time, or maybe a year later, was when we actually got their address. And I think a lot of people don't know too, like, for a long period of time, we had face-to-face visits every year, and that stopped when she was about 4. And that stopped after, so she was about 4, and then when they adopted her brother. But yeah, it's like, you know, the whole harassment thing. I'm like, I wasn't harassing all the time. Like, we would talk back and forth, and then I would ask certain questions, you know, about just like asking for updates. What is she into? Did she like the gift that she got? And I'd be ghosted for weeks. And then in a few weeks, I would write back and be like, hey, just, you know, checking back on this, just wanted to know if she really liked it. Or there'd be times where I'd be like, what is she into this year? You know, would love to send her something she would really like. And then I wouldn't hear anything back for weeks. And then I would text back weeks later and be like, hey, circling back on this, I really would like to send something for her birthday or for Christmas. What is she into? So it's just been, it's been a lot, to say the least. But I don't like this whole thing going around and saying, oh, you're harassing them and yada, yada, yada. No, first of all, I've been told by people in the adoption community about what I should do, needing to be consistent, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Do you think that part of the reason why they stopped communication was because of because I know that, like, there was like a point where, like, there was like a picture that was posted of Carly, or like, because you guys mentioned her on Teen Mom. Do you think that these are reasons as to why they have stopped communication?
Okay, so as far as talking about Carly on Teen Mom, no, I am allowed to talk about Carly on Teen Mom from my point of view, me missing her, wanting to see her, you know, all of that things. You know, I don't ever go on TV and talk about like, oh, I know Carly wants to do this, or I know Carly wants this and that, because I don't know. I'm not going to speak on her story, you know what I mean? But I am allowed to speak my side of my story, my children's side of the stories, my family side of the stories. That I am allowed to do. As far as the picture, what picture are you talking about? The most recent one that was ever posted?
Yes.
With all of it was like the back of all of us walking.
You guys. Yeah, like, you weren't showing her face, obviously.
No.
But
yes.
Because you guys were posting about her on social media, like, were there certain restrictions that they absolutely had that you felt like you broke, and that was the reason why they said, you know what, it's an excerpt for us?
Okay, so I asked, so I spoke about the whole TV situation, me being allowed to talk about my perspective of it and not speak for Carly, because I don't ever want to speak for her.
Right.
Picture. Okay, the picture of her back of the picture of the back of her head that we posted. Years ago, Nova was probably 4. So that would have made Carly 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There was pictures taken at a park, and it was the back of Carly's head, but you could see Nova's head. And even before that, when Nova was a newborn, her and Carly met for the first time, and I took some really pretty pictures, and you couldn't see Carly's face. Again, you could see Nova's face.
Yeah.
I asked for permission to post that one. And I straight up messaged Teresa and Brandon, and I'd said, hey, look, you know, is something like this okay for me to post? You can't see her face. You can see, you know, Nova's face. And her response was, absolutely. If you cannot see her face or kind of make out what she looks like facial wise, that is fine. So I was like, oh, awesome. That's totally a perfect, like being able to work through things with each other. Yeah. So I posted the one of when Nova was like 3 months old and the first time that her and Carly met. Then fast forward to when Nova was like 4 and Carly was like 8, 9. There was one, we were at the zoo and they were both eating popsicles and Carly had Nova on her hip and she was looking at Nova. So the picture was the back of Carly's head again, but you could see Nova's face. Again, ask for permission. Hey, can I post this picture? You can't see Carly's face. You can see Nova's. Are you guys okay with that? And her response again was, absolutely. You can post pictures as long as it can't see Carly's face to really tell who she is. Just like in times where MTV was able to film some visits, it was the same thing. Like, yes, you guys can take pictures of the visits, but you can't show Carly's face.
Right. Like anytime that I've seen it, like it was always like audio or like recent ones were like audio, like they were very strict, it seemed like.
Right. So, I was told and have been told for years that as long as it is the back of her face, that is okay.
Okay. And then, okay. And I'm sorry, Kate, that I'm asking all these questions. I want more like clarification, obviously,
Absolutely.
because I'm going based off of what I see, not what I know, if that makes sense.
Right.
So,
and that's why I was hopping on your live because I'm like, whoa, there's a lot of misinformation being spewed here.
I was like, is this girl spiraling? What's happening? So I'm like, I have questions. So in regards to the post, right? Because I was raised with my grandparents. I wasn't raised with my parents. I was raised by my grandma.
Okay.
So, if I were to see my parents say something on social media in regards to my like Nana, I would flip, right? Because to me, that's the person that like raised me. I love her. That to me, she's my mom. To me, she's my mom. She's not my mom.
Right.
So, do you think that in posting these things, although you're not directly calling them names, right?
Yeah, I'm not calling them names. I'm not saying they're pieces of shit or they're wrong. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm literally speaking it from my view, my feelings.
Right.
But go ahead.
Do you think that these are that can impact Carly's decision on if she would want to continue communication? Because, and I don't know if maybe it's because some people can see it as like spreading light and some people can see it as like, well, she's, it's somewhat talking ill in a sense, right? So do you think that Carly would see this and think, well, she's just putting out, or they're just putting out their perspective on adoption? Or do you think that she would see it as, you guys bashing her parents? Do you think that would cause an impact, or I
think that, if they were to come to us and say, hey, this is causing distress or, whatever the case may be, no, I would never want that for her. Obviously, I would never want to put her in a position like that. Now, me on the other flip, the reason why I have been more voiceful about sharing things and sharing my side of the story is because Carly's friends, they have social media. Who knows if Carly has social media? I don't know. If it happens just one time that a friend shows her and says, hey, like, did you know your parents blocked her? Do you know that your parents have told your bio parents, no, they cannot come and see you even for a day? Do you know all these things? I know she will ask questions. She's already been asking questions. I have been told some things that, I'm not supposed to know. And I know for a fact that kid has been asking questions. She's been asking, why can't we get together more? Why can't we get together for holidays? Why can't they come fly for a weekend here? So I know these things that I'm technically not supposed to know. So that is also a driving force for me. Like, I know she is wanting more. She has 3 biological sisters. When they're all together, she is all about her sisters. She adores them. Like, she wants to know about them. She's an adoptee. I've spoken to so many adoptees over these past few years, and even more so meeting new ones over the past few days. And they talk about how, you know, keep reaching out. It's important. I wish my birth parents would have reached out more and asked questions. I wish, you know, it's just, if people get educated about about adoptees and what they go through mentally, emotionally, you know, when it comes to adoption and adoptions where things get closed when they weren't at first, or even full-blown closed adoptions, like, it is intense. It is super intense. Adoptees go through so much trauma from the moment they are born. And, you know, it's just, I feel like a lot of these people really need to do some research about adoptees and really the effects and tolls that it takes about not being in communication with their birth families and stuff. And yeah, so I guess that was, that's all I can think to answer that part of it. But
okay. I have several people in my comments that are adoptees that have you know, been on or that are bio parents, right, that have chosen adoption for their children, tons of those. And I know that a lot of those they all have like their own perspective, right?
Absolutely, because every adoption is different.
Not everyone is the same. Everyone can be in the same situation but not have the same story.
No, absolutely. They're never the same. Never.
Right. So one thing that I've seen a lot in my comments, and one thing that I have said is good for y'all for making the bag on another platform that I cannot discuss. But do you think that on that other platform that is also a reason as to why Teresa and Brandon have chosen to cut ties?
We don't know. You know, nothing has been said to us. And, you know, I feel like obviously if that was something that did hurt them or affect them, we wouldn't have had the visit that we just had last year.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But the problem is like, they do not communicate with us. What are your feelings? I would love to know. Like, I have asked them for years, like, please tell me, what are your fears? What is the scary part about being an adoptive parent? Like, tell me all of it. I'm a very open-minded person, and I could, you know, I put myself in their shoes all the times, but only through assumptions because they don't speak to me about those things. You know what I mean? Like, and if that was the case, oh my God, we would have no problem with shutting it down. You know what I mean? Like, no problem at all if that was the issue.
So you guys would completely shut down that platform just to make sure that you guys had a relationship with Carly?
100%. But it just is weird to me that has been going on, and we literally just all got together for a visit, you know, last year, and that was still happening. And so if that is the case, tell us. That's what I mean. Just be honest with us. You're not going to hurt our feelings. We would love to know if it affects you or whatever affects you. What fears you guys have, and, you know, we can communicate about that.
Yeah.
They just don't. So that makes it hard too.
Right. Do you think that if you were to stop, I don't know, like, do you think that if they saw this, right, or something? Because I've even said, I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, like, I have nephews that, like, do not answer my texts, okay? Like, they are horrible at answering my text messages. So one of the things that we saw on, right, on those texts is that you guys, or like, you were messaging Carly through Teresa, right?
Yeah, because that's how it has to be.
Okay, so there was no actual, like, there was no other way for you to have communication. It was kind of just like, hey, and then if it was up to Teresa if she was going to show Carly these messages or not.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm like shivering because I was like drinking like something cold, and then I'm trying not to overheat my phone, so I'm like shivering.
And as far as like when I do send gifts and stuff like that, like, I put little letters in there, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like, I'll write little things in there to her, and, you know, sometimes Nova wants to send her certain things, and so I'll write little notes in there from Nova. You know how Amazon, you can like write little notes in there and stuff.
Yeah, like when you send like the gifts or whatever.
Yeah. Now, does Carly get those? I don't know. Do they open the presents beforehand? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really know 100%. So I'm trying to just keep a log of all the times I've tried, and I have a log for since the beginning, just because I want her to know the truth. And I've said it all the time, I will never bash her parents. Those are the people that raised her. Those are the people that love her. Those are the people that took care of her when she was sick. Those are the people that wiped tears away when she scraped a knee. Like, I will always support her loving her parents and wanting to be with her parents. I would never downgrade her parents in front of her, nothing like that. But I will show how I have tried and what I have done to try over the years, because that is important. I'm not going to bash them, but I'm going to show, like, hey, this year we messaged them wanting to get together this year and we're shot down. We messaged wanting to, you know what I mean? Like, just all the things. This is, how many times a year I would message them and send pictures. Like, did you see these? Were you able to know about them? Because I feel like it is important for adoptees, like, if they're getting stuff hidden from them, which I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just saving certain things so that way I for sure have some things to show her and to talk about. But people are all like, oh, but you're going to bash her parents. No, I'm not. But I'm going to show her how many times we have tried as a family to get together, to send updates. And if they didn't show her all of them, then Carly will have to ask them why. What is the reasoning why? You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
So when you're making these posts, it is with the hope that maybe, because let's be real, like, kids are all on social media. Somebody's going to show Carly. Literally, people know who Carly is, or her friends do, right?
For sure.
So your guys' hope is that in posting this stuff, Carly will see a message that you guys are trying to reach her and that she is not forgotten. That is what you guys are trying to get through. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Listen, Kate, I'm not going to lie to you, girl. I'm a very opinionated person. But
I love it.
I'm also down to hear it, and I'm also down to have communication so that everybody has a full understanding, right?
Yes.
Obviously, nobody is going to know what the facts are unless you're speaking with the source and you're asking questions. So Obviously, I appreciate you coming on here and speaking with me about it. Because
I appreciate you letting me and just, actually listening and asking good pointed questions that I have answers to, because it's important.
Right. I do. I think it is important. I think it's important for people that have never been through it before, that have no idea. And like I said, everybody having a completely different situation. And I'm really glad that you were able to answer the questions about, like, Dawn and you guys being able to change stuff up. I think my only thing that I'm not understanding from the adoption paperwork is, once those 5 years were up, what was the list, or what was it that you guys were allowed to do or not do after those 5 years ended?
Honestly, it goes to the adoptive parents, whatever they see fit. Unfortunately, adoption is not legally binding. We sign all these contracts and stuff, and the adoptive parents sign contracts, but at the end of the day, the adoptive parents can do whatever they see fit, or, whatever, and that's just how it is.
Right.
I do think there needs to be a ton of reform about adoption, especially for children, for all ages, but also for children who are super young, like Ty and I were,
Yeah. Do you think that Dawn could have, like, better explained this to you guys when you guys were younger, so that you guys actually had a full understanding of what you were signing?
I think in some aspects, yes. And then I do think in other aspects, she did try. There was multiple times where she would be like, are you sure you don't want to pick a family in North Carolina or in Michigan, so that way that they are closer to you and things of that nature? And in that time, Ty and I were like, would it be too hard? Would we, run into them at a grocery store or something, and would that be too hard for us? And you know what I mean? So there is times where she would try, but I think like, birth parents, we need to be educated about the trauma that comes with adoption. The trauma that adopted children go through their whole lives, not knowing their identity, wanting to know who they are. Was I not loved? Was I not wanted? Adoptees have a higher chance of drug addiction and suicide and depression because, from the moment they are born, they're experiencing loss and abandonment. And just because they're a baby doesn't mean that they don't feel those things. It's tied. You cut the maternal tie, and right off there, that's their first source of trauma. There was just a lot of things that I wasn't educated about. I wasn't educated about, how much trauma even myself would experience through adoption.
Right. And we've seen that. You've been very open about what you've gone through and what it is like for adoptive parents, you and Tyler both, what it is like to go through this as adoptive parents and wondering what is going to happen next,
Well, yeah. And, we were not told any of that. I just thought I thought I'm going to place this baby for adoption and we're going to have a great relationship with her parents and I'm going to be fine. And we didn't have any support after the fact of you need to go to therapy. This is going to be traumatic. This, all of the things. And so, as I've gotten older and stuff, and I've learned more about adoption, about the adoptees and what the adoptees go through and birth parents, I was just holy shit. There's so many things that you were not taught going into this, I feel my personal feeling is that adoptive parents need to, continue being trauma informed. There should be classes every few years where they go and they learn about the traumas of the adopted child, not just have one class and then it's over with, because as they grow, different traumas are going to come up for them. There's just so many things that we're not told that I look back on now and I'm like, damn, dude, if I would have known some of these things, I would have been able to set her up, as in Carly, for even better success.
Do you think that because obviously you guys didn't know where the show was going with 16 and Pregnant. You guys had no idea what it was going to be today. Do you think, or do you guys think, right, you and Tyler, do you guys think that had you known what your life would be today, do you think that you guys would have made the decision to continue with adoption just because of the home that you guys were both in, because you guys were in very traumatic homes yourselves? Do you think that you would have kept Carly knowing what your lives would have been like today with Teen Mom, or do you think that you guys would have still chosen adoption?
That's a hard one, because it's there's plenty of times, believe me, in my life where I've sat back and been like, man, if only I wish I could have known what I know now, and I wish I could have known what I would have had now.
Right.
And the thing is, though, it's just obviously if that was a possibility and I was could see the future, maybe I would have, but as an adult now, and even with all the crap I went through with just even my own mental health and stuff before, after Carly was born and stuff.
Right.
No, I don't think that I would change my decision. Would I have changed different aspects? 100%. Would I have went through a private agency? No. Would I have probably picked a couple in Michigan who wanted were gung ho on severe, major openness? 100%.
Yeah.
Because, I even after she was born, I went through so many mental health things, and that's not fair for a child to see either.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So, no, I don't think I would change the decision. Is there some things that I regret about it? Of course. Mm-hmm. Of course.
There's some people that have said that Teresa and Brandon are not the babysitters, right? They are the parents. Do you consider them the babysitters until you guys were ready to have Carly in your lives? Is there any anything that you want to say to that? Because I've seen that a lot.
That's crazy. No, of course not. Like that's dumb. Like if you really think that I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, it's just their babysitters. No. And like I just said previously, those are her parents. Those are the ones that wiped her tears when she skinned her knee. Those are the ones that took care of her when she's vomiting all over the place from a stomach bug, potty training, all of that. Mm-hmm. Those are her parents. I will always support Carly loving her parents and wanting to be with her parents, always. Mm-hmm. And Ty and I have always said that from the beginning. Now, it comes down to the point as she's getting older and she's asking more questions and she's wanting to spend more time, that's also up to her parents. But I would think that educated adoptive parents would see the good in that for the adoptee and how it helps the adoptee as they're growing and changing and learning new things about themselves and their adoption.
Yeah.
It's not like I want to take her away from them and keep her forever or anything like that. No, I'm just saying, what is the best thing for her as the adoptee? And for her as the adoptee that has 3 full biological siblings that she loves and she adores. What is the best thing for Carly? What does Carly want to do? Because I feel like if I was in that situation, whatever my child wanted to do and felt like she needed to do, I would let them do that. Mm-hmm. Whether, even if I had to come with them or whatever, like it's all about the adoptee. What can we do to set her up for the best adulthood ever with the less issues of being adopted?
Right. Okay. And then there was something else. A lot of people brought up, right, like the whole Gary and Amber situation and Leah wanting to be adopted.
Yeah.
A lot of people have tried to compare those, right? The difference between you and Tyler placing Carly up for adoption, and then Leah stating that she wants Christina to adopt her. And I know that you and Amber are friends, right? But is there like any light that you want to shine on that, or like a difference that you're able to explain for people on as to why you've continued to keep? Obviously, you may see, Amber, you guys have been through it all since the very beginning, which listen, I'm all for my ride or dies, right? But do you know, or can you explain the difference between your guys' situation and the situation that, Amber and Leah are going through? Would you say it's acceptable for Leah to, because she's already voicing her opinion on exactly what she wants, versus you guys not having an idea right now of what Carly wants?
100%. Like even when we did speak up with Gary, of course, TV's not going to show everything.
Right.
But I did tell Gary, I said, you need to do whatever Leah feels like is best for her. And I told Gary, I said, I know you will do that for her, because him and Christine, that's what they do, dude. They're great parents.
Yeah.
And I told him that. I said, no matter whatever the outcome is or whatever, like whatever Leah is wanting to do, because she's at a great age to know what she wants in her life, support that.
Yeah.
And also too, like I'm very good at talking with Amber of like, girl, can't you understand why Leah feels like this?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing too. Like a lot of people aren't getting to see that, like the authenticity of, because I'm that friend. I'm the friend that's like, girl,
No, and I'm the same way. Like when Amber brought up, like, oh, Leah thinks that every time I get a new boyfriend, I just forget about her. And right there at the table, I said, Amber, can't you see the pattern, though, of why Leah feels like that and thinks like that? And even Amber was like, yes, I can, 100%. Like, I'm not the type of friend that's just going to be like, oh, yep, you're the greatest. You didn't make any mistakes. Like, Amber knows. We've talked about it before, where I tell her, like, girl, yeah, you've made a lot of mistakes. And, this is why Leah feels the way that she does.
Do you think that I'm not showing, like, it's just showing you guys coddling her versus
it does. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it absolutely did. I'm like, couldn't you guys put in everything that we talked about? Because I'm that type of friend too, where it's like, I hold my friends accountable. Like if you're doing great stuff, I'm going to be like, dude, that's freaking awesome. So proud of you. But if you're doing messed up things too, I'm going to be the type that's like, girl, can't we do this a little better? What can we do to like fix this? Right. And that's how I was with her that weekend. Like, and I do it in a very friendly way. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're a piece of shit and You know, this is why she doesn't want to be around
Yeah, you're not
you.
being an asshole.
Right. I'm more just like, can't you understand? And Amber even said, she's like, yeah, I can understand. I can understand why she has those feelings. And so then I told her, I said, well, if you want to change those feelings, I said, you know, I told her, I said, consistency is key. Keep showing up, you know? And then also at the end of the day, if that's something Leah doesn't want and Gary is hearing that, I know Gary will tell her that. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that they need to, you know, Gary just has to do and take the brunt of whatever Leah wants at the end of the day. There you go.
I hear you. Those were questions that had been popping up. Those were questions I had. Those were questions others had. And so these were definitely questions. Sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, and they did play it off like, whoa, look at it, they're just coddling her and yada yada yada. It's like, actually, no, we had some really deep conversations, and Amber even told me, she's like,
it does look like that. Yeah.
Right. And then when we were leaving, Amber was like, you know, thank you so much, because you really made me think about different things and like how I need to show up and continually show up. And I'm like, girl, you have to, or it's never going to change, you know, like that's just how we are as friends.
Right.
So.
Okay, girl.
Well, hopefully that clears up a lot of the things for people. I mean, Ty and I are in the starts of starting something here soon. And we'll be diving into all of this a lot deeper and bringing people on to ask questions, and people with, people that don't agree with us, people that do. We're going to be talking to adoptees and, other birth parents and stuff. So, there's definitely more to come. And honestly, for me, it all comes back to getting more education and putting it out into the world and learning more about, adoptees and what their struggles are and other birth parents and, all of it. So.
Yeah. Well, I really do appreciate you being very open. I appreciate you coming on and speaking with me. I definitely see a different perspective, right? Because I can only go based off of what I see, not what I know. And so I do appreciate you answering questions, answering hard questions. It's not like these are easy. And I appreciate you being very open.
Oh girl, I'm an open book, have been for going on 17 years now. So I ain't afraid to tell anything.
Yes. Well, I will press the follow button.
Okay, same.
Yes, and I look forward to continuing to watch. So thank you very much for your clarification, Catelynn, and it's always a joy watching you and your family. That is something that I have always said, regardless of my opinions. I have always said that you and Tyler are amazing parents to your daughters.
Thank you. No, I did. I saw what you said there, and I watched one of your videos the other day, and I was like, wow, well, thanks. I'm glad people see that part of us.
Yeah, no, I have. And that's why it's funny, because people are like, she's bashing you. Like, no, I have said that you guys are great parents. I have said that when there's a difference with Amber and you, with Leah's birthday, and then Nova confiding in you.
That's the video of yours that I watched. Yeah.
Girl,
thank you for that.
That was everything. So trust me.
Thank you, because I was like, after I watched your video, I looked at Ty last night and I was like, and honestly, I said, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was just going into it how I thought I should,
Yes, and that's all you did was you didn't throw your trauma and say, well, to hell with you and your feelings. You said no. You said, no, girl, I hear you, I got you, and
right.
And one thing I love is Nova's got an opinion. Nova has her own personality, and I'm for it. So,
oh yeah, she's the best, man. That kid is great. She's a great kid.
I see all your girls have their own personality. You have, and you can see your passion for your daughters, and that you want a voice for your daughters. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoy seeing that, and I just wanted to clarify that, because if people haven't gone through my whole Teen Moms playlist, then they would know that I have not bashed you my whole, page. No.
Right. And I get your perspective, and that's why I'm glad that you let me hop on, because there's more to it that people don't know. And of course people are going to have these ideas, and it's like, whoa, but that's not factual. Because
Right.
I know the facts, you know what I mean? So it's hard. Yeah.
Obviously, you're going through it, so you would know.
Right. So I hope that clears it up for some people, and you know, we'll be doing our best to continue clearing up some things as the future goes on in a safe way. So
for sure. Well, thank you, Kate. Thank you so much, and we will try to keep in touch.
No, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, y'all, was not expecting that. Hello. But I'm here for it. I have to go into work, so this was kind of perfect timing. I'm really, really glad. For those of you guys that missed it, luckily TikTok records this shit, so y'all know I'm gonna post about it. But thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you guys for always being supportive and always hopping on and being able to always listen. You never know who's gonna pop up in here, so it's always a good time. Love you guys all. Thank you again for all of your support. Thank you guys so much for being able to listen. It was a pleasure listening to Kate. Questions that I had, she was happily able to answer. So can't wait to talk to you guys soon. Have a great hump day. Talk to you guys later. Love you.